Hey guys, Sam here, back on October 3rd, midday. A little update on the majors here. So I've got Bitcoin in front of me. Here's the 4 hour on Bitstamp that we've been using sort of as our reference chart. So, again, as we looked at this, I think it was yesterday, we've gone to this 50, and now we've come up and we hit the target here at negative 23. So it's not surprising as we hit the 23, right as we hit the median line, that we're getting some sort of a reaction here. So what we're watching for is, are we starting this? Right, that's the one that we're cautious of, because we have all the technical structure there for this big A wave here to have now completed the ABC, right? We get the 3-wave A, the 3-wave B, then we get a really nice, clearly defined 5-wave structure right up into a likely profit-taking point for algos at the median line. So we really have to be cautious about this starting, right? So, can we say we're there yet? Well, no, we can't. We can't. So right now we've got a little retracement, right? So we can't really quantify it here. And if I go over to the smaller time frame that we've been kind of micro tuning for entry and exit here, because we had this very nice entry here for that trade that worked out so pretty. So the next thing you would do with that completed 5-wave structure, again, it's just as simple as it can be, we'd pull from the low to the high, and I hope this does not surprise anyone who follows me, right? That we go right to the 50, and we wicked through just by a couple, but this pivot here seemed to be the previous resistance offering the support right at the 50. So we look at that and say, okay, well, could we be, if we're starting something impulsive to the downside, we'd be looking for a 1-wave, right? Can we, it's there actually. Right now we're on a 15-minute, and we really wouldn't want to consider this a break of trend until we break the 618 or the 61865 little pocket here. But if you look at this is kind of interesting. So we've hit the 50. Now if this is a 5-wave, we're going to look to try and quantify how strong is that pivot here. So if I take the high here and I go down to my it's some sort of a diagonal 1-wave, and I project that from my 4-wave, which would be right here. Well, interestingly, the 50% of the entire move and the 100% are to the dollar, and look at the reaction. Not to mention, right? So that gives you some idea that you might have a good pivot here. So we'd want to check, well, this as a potential 4 went right to the 50. Now it hasn't quite gotten to the negative 23 on that, but this, the longer you defer to the higher time frame. So the fact that this is the 50 on a larger time frame would be what I'd defer to as potentially the pivot with some sort of a move higher. Now, we've got to allow for the possibility that we could have an A wave in, or a 1-wave, could be a 1-wave. So if that's the case, then we'd be looking for the 2 to come back in here and challenge that. Well, here's the 200 period. Now again, I'm on a 15-minute chart, so this is small scale. But if we're going to start moving lower in a 5-wave sequence, it starts with the first impulse. And we definitely, even though there's a very ugly first wave here, we could carve out a 1, 2, 3, 4 right to target on 100% of the wave 1 at that 50%. I mean, this is potentially a good pivot here. We go up. If we go up in 3, and you can see we've already kind of got a little bit of an A, B. If we come up here and start to see signs of a turn lower, that's when we'll start to look at this and say, well, we potentially have a change of trend here, potentially, right? Looking, so if you go back to the 4-hour, right, you can just barely see that we've started let me blow it up. Are we starting that? Well, there's a long way to go. Right? So if we're coming back down, right? So here's the 50. We got to break that. We got to break the 618. But it starts with that first impulsive structure. So within this one wave, we'd expect a 5-wave sequence. So possibly we got the first 1 in, then we see a 2. Now if we see an impulsive move down here in a 3, then this count starts to increase in likelihood, and the probabilities start to swing towards this larger degree ABC unfolding. And if you look at the target here, so if we do that same thing, we look at the A wave projected from, if that is our B wave, well, there's the 100%. That's the 100%, right? And then if we look at it from the high to the low, just on a straight fib pull, that's kind of interesting. So the negative 23 of this entire move. Now we've gone deep here, right? But for a B wave, not unusual for it to go past the 618 and challenge the 786, right? That's a contender. Well, we start to get a bit of a cluster down here. The negative 23 algo target and the 100% of the entire A wave projected from this potential B wave, we start to get a little cluster down here at 2,500. So again, I'm not saying short it. I'm just saying be aware that this, has always had the potential, because as we've talked in many videos, because this didn't resolve to a new low, it created the probability and the potential outcome that all we've done is have a 3, and then we start a 5-wave sequence to complete the C wave. That's definitely a contender, but it's premature to say we're there yet. Right now, we haven't even gotten to the outside of the median line here. So there's going to be there's going to be support along the way. Now let me pull this off to the side, because I'm not saying that's what's happening. That's just the potential count. That I leave that up there kind of as a reminder to say, show me evidence that that's what's happening. So, this A wave high here, likely going to be some support, right? That was the resistance. Lines up right with the 382 of this swing from low to high. There's the 3.8 right with the A, right with the outside median line. So very likely that we get some sort of reaction right here. Because this, right, we can't be absolute about it. This could be, this ultimately we're going to go back and count this in some bizarre way that we're just starting off here's our 1, some sort of a 2, and then we go off to new highs. But, that's still a contender. But right now this count down here, as a guy playing the odds, that's starting to look more and more like the highest probability outcome here, right? Everything is there, and we're going to get tells along the way. The break of the median line, the break of the 50, the break of the 618. If this starts to unfold in a 5-wave structure, right? When do we really quantify it? If we get a 3-wave into a 2, and then we start moving down. That's when we know this is the high, and we start this sequence down. Then we can trade it. So this isn't the death of Bitcoin, but it certainly would resolve some of the technical conflict that we have here because of this not going to a new low. Okay, so just be conscious of it, that we're kind of in the show it to me, prove it to me. If you're going to do that, then the first thing I'm going to look for is a 5-wave structure to start this, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. Right, so it'd be interesting to see overnight if that holds. So we got the little confluence here. We're down by the channel. We might go down, push it one more time. But if we break this, now we're heading to the negative 23, the 618, that little window here. So this is definitely an area to pay attention to, right down here in the 4180-ish, that range. So, and again, if you take note, all that is swing low to swing high. Okay, we've hit wick the 50 reaction, but it's not moving away from it impulsively yet. Right, so still a lot of story to tell here. But if we break this next target, break that, it starts to get a little uglier. So we keep an eye on this. I'm would I be a buyer there? No, right? Because I think there's too much potential for this to move lower for me to be trying to, carve out a little day trade there for, 50. What do we got here? So from 42.50, we got up to 43.14. The 15-minute chart, yeah, it's tradable, but am I a buyer there? No. I got to see more evidence of where we're going here, because I think my instincts are telling me that, as bullish as I want to be and remain on Bitcoin in the long term, this is kind of whispering in my ear, right? Don't ignore it. We all want Bitcoin to go higher, but if it does do this and comes back down to 2,500, that's not necessarily an unhealthy thing for the longer term bull. That's just complete technical resolution. Then we start up again impulsively, and we resolve the tension that's that's there from this not completing. Right, so not the death of Bitcoin. In fact, could be a healthy move. Could be a healthy move. All right, let's go over to Ethereum, where it's even more of a mess. So this, here's the same problem, right? So as you'd expect, we've got this very similar structure, except we have not had. It's even harder to call it here. So we did not get the 5-wave impulsive structure like we got in Bitcoin to get up to the -23. We fail. We didn't get there. So now is this hard to read. So right now I'm just watching. I'm just watching on Ethereum, because this is a bit of a cluster. So if I blow this up. Okay, so we don't quite get to the median line. That's bearish. We don't really move impulsively. I mean, I suppose you could carve out a 5-wave there. So is that an A? And now we're just doing an ABC. It's not real pretty technically. It's a bit of a problem. So let me this is now just come down. It's gone to that little pocket between the 6.5 or the 618 and the 65. We get a little reaction there, but that this doesn't look great, right? So if that's going to go down there, now I'm on a 4-hour. Let's go down to a 1-hour. Let me squeeze it up a little bit. All right, so if that's a B wave, right? Because we can see it's pretty clear 3-wave sequence, implying that that's a B wave. Well, now we're starting some sort of a ABC down, but this is starting to look more impulsive. This sort of a last gasp here. We hold this. Are we going to rebound from that? Well, probably not if Bitcoin's going to keep going. We're down at the last edges of where this might go. So here I've got the 100%. I'm just pulling from. Yeah, I'll redraw it so you can see it. Let me get that off. All right, so if this is a top here and I'm going to go into an ABC, I want to look for that relationship between A to C, and that's the 100%, which happens to line up with the larger 38% of the entire move, right? That 38 is from the absolute low. You can't even see it on this time frame. So we go from here to here. There's my 38, right? This was the 50 that we responded to, that we did not get to our target. We didn't get to the -23. So algos will continue to be buyers looking to get that profit target. So is this just it's hard to count it, right? So when you can't see it and it's not obvious, next market. Right? No reason to force a trade here. I don't care how bullish you are on Ethereum's long term. Is the trade there? Is there technical setup? Do I have good risk reward? Can I clearly establish pivots, excuse me, that I can work from? Everything here is suggesting more downside before this clarifies, right? Again, I'm as bullish as anyone on crypto, but it's not setting up there. So we have to continually recognize our bullish bias, but be cautious when the market is not showing us the evidence that we're looking for, right? So allow it to resolve, excuse me, allow it to show its hand, and set up better technically. And you see the same thing. I'll finish here with Litecoin. We had it was all there. It was all there for the push up for the 5. You know, just sometimes the market it doesn't give it to you. It doesn't cooperate for whatever reason. All we do is we get a 3 wave and we fail. So is that a truncated fifth? You know, maybe. I don't love it. I don't love it. That was the better target. So is this? You know, it's hard to stay bullish here because of this 3 wave structure. So it's kind of a stretch to go, you know, 1 2. This looks much more like A, B, and we're going down for a C. So likely this count has to come off. So A, you know, could we squeeze out the C here? Yeah, we could. But right now I would just, you know, when it's not obvious, well, we've broken this channel, right? So that's not good news. So I'm just pulling from low to high. Well, the 50 held it the first time. We're testing the 50 again. This swing right at the 618 likely to be important. Any help from the oscillators? Well, potentially we're getting into some oversold. You know, we've got energy build up there to take it up higher again. It's possible. Why force it? Why force the trade? It's just it's unclear. So certainly with the Bitcoin, you know, potentially leading the move lower, Litecoin's going to follow it. My advice is sit tight. You know, there's no need to always be in the market, right? No need to force a trade. You know, yeah, that's a 50, but it's the second test of the 50. This, you know, it was there, but market didn't cooperate. So my advice is we just sit tight on Litecoin. There's other things to trade. So anyway, I want to do that quick update on the majors. That's what 15, 16 minutes. Okay, I'll stop it there. We'll keep an eye on these. I'll be back as the market reveals itself, as trades set up, I'll be sure to point them out to you. Okay, guys, that's it for now.